This video is a brief introduction to drum track editing on the Electone series. Drum tracks on these Electones consist of two parts. There's the actual drum pattern, which is a 2-bar pattern for each drum, and then there's the sequence, which lets you create a string of different drum patterns. So let's start by creating a new drum pattern. To do this, we press the pattern button, and we don't select a rhythm. That's for editing an existing pattern, so we just release it. So now we're into the first page of the drum pattern editor. The beats show that you have 2/4, 3/4 and 4/4 patterns available, but you can use the quantize options to create something different. So as an example, I want to do a 12/8 drum pattern, so I'm going to use this triplet quantization here. We now move to the edit menu. The first thing we need to do here is to choose the drum sounds that we're going to use. So we press the change button and then tap away until we find something we want to use. So that sounds fine. For my second drum, the number 2 drum, I want to have a snare. That will be okay. For my third one, I'm going to have a bass drum. Right, I'm going to use those. So I go back to my number 1 drum, which is my hi-hat, and I enter the pattern for 2 bars. You can see the drum pattern I'm going to work to, and I'm going to enter it now. So the hi-hat hits on the first part of the beat, so I'm going to use the strength of the beat fairly high, so I'm going to say it's 7. On the second part of the first beat it doesn't sound, so I hit 0, and the third part I'm going to use a 5, something softer, and I'll repeat that pattern. Now for the last beat I've got 3 hits, so I'm going to do 7, 6, 7. So now, as you can see, we're onto the second bar, and I'll do something similar. So I'm going to say 5. Now if I press the play button, we can hear what we've created. Good, that seems to be okay. We'll select our second drum, the snare, and on my diagram here, the snare does a hit on beat 2, so I'm going to move to beat 2. We're on beat bar 1, beat 1, part way through, so there we are, bar 1, beat 2, and I want to have 1 snare hit. Then there's nothing on beat 3, and on beat 4 I've got a snare, a gap and snare. Now we're on to bar 2. I shall repeat the same thing. I go to beat 2, I do a hit, go to beat 4, and on this one I'm going to have 3 snare hits. So now we can play this. Okay, sounds fine. Go to drum 3. On a bass drum we want to have 2 hits on the first beat. Then we have 2 silences from the bass drum. Then we have 2 beats. We have a silence, a beat, a silence and a beat. Now we go on to the second bar. I'll do something similar. Two beats here, 2 hits here, a silence and 1 more hit. There we are, so that's all those together, and let's play that now. Right, so that's fine. I shall save it. I'm going to save it to pattern 1A. I'm not going to put a name in, but I could. Right, so now we're going to create a different pattern. So we can start again, or we could edit that one, but I'm going to start again as a demonstration. So again, I'm going to choose the instruments. So I wanted a hi-hat here. There we are. For 2, I wanted the snare. 3 was the bass drum. Right, so you can see the pattern I've got here. Oh, I want a crash cymbal. I'm going to add a crash onto the 4th line. It's a bit different. Right, so for my high hit in the first bar, I have hits on every subbeat. I'll enter that now. For the next bar, I'm going to use the crash cymbal. So I'll select the crash cymbal. I'm going to do a hit here. Then I want 2 more hi-hats, 3 hi-hats, one crash, and then hi-hats to the end. So let's listen to that. Okay, go to the second one. We're going to use our snare. So it's silent on the first beat. So all 3 hits in that beat are silent. Then we have this sort of pattern, 3 more silences. And on the final beat we have 1 snare. And I'll repeat this on the second one, so I have silences. Second beat, 3rd beat is silent, and 4th has a single hit. Let's play that now. Good. Now for the drum. So the bass drum, we have 2 hits at the start. But let's say I made a mistake. So I can say, let's clear instrument 3 and start again. Clear. So now we're back where we were, and we'll enter this as second beat is silent, 3rd beat, same pattern, 4th beat just has 1 hit at the very end, second bar, beat 2 is silent, beat 3, and beat 4, 1 at the very end. Great. Play that. So I'm going to save that, and I'm going to select 1B. Right, now I want to create a 1-bar fill. I'm going to base it on the same instrument selections, so I'll just delete everything that's been programmed in. I'm just delete everything that's programmed in, but to keep the same assignments for the instruments. Right, So I want a hi-hat, 2 silences, in fact there's no more hi-hats at all. The snare drum comes in on beat 2 and again on beat 4. The bass drum is on beat 1. Then the second hit of beat 2. Start of 3. Last part of 3. And in beat 4, 2 hits at the end. And lastly, we want to go to our crash, and I've got a crash here on starting on beat 2. So I'm going to do this pattern. Right, let's play that, hear what that sounds like. Okay, well maybe not great, but serves a point. I'm going to save this as fill 1. Fills can be 1 bar or 2 bars. Just for convenience, I've only done a single bar here. So now we've created 2 drum patterns and 1 fill, so let's create a sequence using those. So to do that, we press and hold the sequence button and then choose one of the 4 sequences that's available. I'll choose sequence 1. Clear the existing sequence. So now I want to insert, and either you can insert the drum patterns built into the Electone or you can insert the ones you've created. So over on the left here, I have to select user 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you can see that's reflected here. So I want user 1. And here we have the A, B and C and D pattern. So I want to have my first pattern. So I'm going to create 2 bars of that. Then I'm going to create 2 bars of my second pattern. Then I'm going to create a fill. So I press and hold the fill button and set that. And now 1A for 2 bars and 1B for 2 bars. So there's our pattern created. We go back to the beginning of it. The play pointer moves. I can press the start and play this. So there we are, a brief introduction to creating drum tracks on the Electones. I hope that's helpful. If you have any questions, let me know and I'll have a go at answering them.